Right, part 6 then. It seems to be going on forever, this series, longer than, well, the longest running TV programmes. Maybe long. Seems like it's been forever anyway, doesn't it? Anyway. So, what we've done, we've now put all the little games into the cabinet, which I showed you in the first video. And I'm pleased to say they've all gone in there, no problem at all. And they fit perfectly, which is brilliant. It's also created some space on my shelf, which is fantastic. So, what we're going to do now. You may have noticed that a lot of those games are on the small side and a lot of budget games in there, and you're probably thinking, well, what about some of the the big games? We saw Outrun, we saw Buggy Boy, we saw Ghosts and Goblins, but what about some of the other big games that came out in the Commodore 64? Why haven't I got any of those? Well, I have some of them, not all of them, and this is the next phase, really, the second phase of moving these into a different sort of form of storage. That's the big one because I can sort of keep that quite close to hand. This one's going to be a bit different because these are going to have to be put inside a box, which, as you can see here, I have procured a storage box which I picked up a few months ago from a well-known budget supermarket. 6 of these for £5 you put together yourself, and they're quite sturdy, quite strong. I've already tried them on the games I'm going to put in there, and the good news is the majority of them go in there and get probably maybe fill 3 of these up, and that'll take care of the rest of the collection, and I can store these one on top of the other in my front room. And they're not that big, and they'll be nice and tidy, and they can go in the corner. You can see what I'm trying to do there. So this next set of games and the next video, they're all going to go into those and be put away nice and neatly, and therefore that will enable me to start switching stuff around behind me. So when I hopefully, once I've completed the 7th video, which will be the next one, then when I do another video after that, you'll start to see a bit of difference behind me. All that will be moved. That over there, which is seen on the previous video, will be back over here, and there'll be some adjustments made. I'm also making some adjustments on this one, which you can't see, by creating some more space, moving some things up to create space along here for games which I can't put on because they're sat there at the moment waiting to go on there. It's all really one of these sort of things. It's like when you try and create some space or breathing space, but probably in a couple of months' time that sooner or later it's all going to be hitting the head again, and that's exactly what's going to happen, because at the rate I bring things in at, although I haven't been out this week, there's been no pickups this week, which is the 8th of September, so I haven't got anything to add to it. I couldn't really have bought anything in because I've got nowhere to put it. There we go. So, off on a tangent yet again. You're familiar with that by now. So what we're going to do is go through some of these, what I call dual case games. These are the original releases, therefore they've been full price, so these would have cost between sort of £7.99, £8.99, £9.99 at the time. Some interesting stuff here, really interesting stuff here. So let's start with Konami Coin-Op Hits, which has Green Beret, Mikey, Yeah Kung Fu, Hyper Sports and Ping Pong. Now Green Beret, we saw a previous video, and there's a video gameplay uploaded on there now. Mikey is a game which has appeared on loads of compilations at the time. It's a very well pretty much forgotten arcade game now, but it did appear on a lot of these compilations very on. Yeah Kung Fu, which we saw again, we saw Shailin's Road, I think, didn't we? I haven't seen Yeah Kung Fu yet. I can't speak about that because I don't remember playing it an awful lot. Hypersport speaks for itself. It's the track and field, Daley Thompson decathlon type joystick waggler, where you're desperately trying to sort of complete the end of the race or various things. Some speech in that as well. And Ping Pong, which is, well, but it is table tennis. So there we go. Up next is Tarzan, and again we spoke about a Tarzan game from Codemasters about how they managed to get the license for it. This again looks like a proper license. It does actually say on the front here, copyright 1983 and 1986, Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated. Tarzan owned by Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated and used for permission. So there we go. No graphics on the back, I'm afraid, so I don't really know what that one's about. Never played it. But I remember a friend of mine had it. I never know anybody know one. 4 smash hits from Hewson, so it's a compilation. We've got on there Zynaps, Zelon, Ranorama and Iridium Plus. I think probably the most well-known game amongst those would be Iridium Plus. Synapse was also pretty well known at the time as well. This was now I got very kindly donated by a friend of mine all his old Commodore 64 stuff a few years ago. It wasn't you know, a massive collection, but there was all these old games that we used to play on at the time, which was fantastic. And this, I am presuming, was what was given away with the pack when his parents bought him for Christmas, which is a Dixon's 6-pack shooter. Some great games on that. Mikey we've got again, notice that. Whizball, Terra Cresta, which I think was does that say Terra Cresta or Terra Cresta? I don't know. I can't read. Let's obviously shoot 'em up. Parallax, Head Over Heels, which is one of the all-time great isometric puzzle games. Very well written. Of course, Hypersports again. So yeah, I've got 2 of those already. But good game. Head Over Heels and Whizball itself are perfectly good games. Lead Storm, which gets a pretty rocky reputation for not being a particularly great arcade game, therefore not being a particularly great arcade game means it's not a particularly good game to convert, and you're going to get a good game out of it. I played the Amiga version, which I had a little bit of a soft spot for. I had that on the compilation. I thought it was alright, but the Commodore 64 version, not so. It had some pretty funky music in it, if I remember. But that's the thing, if an arcade game isn't great and doesn't capture the imagination, why bother licensing it and then releasing it? Because could you improve on it? Very, very rarely would anything like that happen. Usually it gets average reviews because it's an average arcade machine. You know, it's the source material. The source material is crap. Then you're never actually going to get anything good out of it. This is Dark Fusion from Gremlin. There's also a label on this one which is Plus Wizard's Lair. I'm guessing there may be an extra game in there or not. I don't know. A Dragon Ninja. There we go. That's a well-known game, isn't it? Very few screenshots on the back here. All down the bottom. I've not played the Commodore 64 version, but I played the Amiga version. But just remember, see, Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja. An amazing title, and the president had been kidnapped or something. It's a bizarre, stupid storyline it had got going. Thunderblade, which again comes from the school of thought of why try and convert a sort of hydraulic 3D helicopter game to a home system. So good they put no graphical shots on the back of it. It says see reverse for incredible screenshots, so you could actually open the damn thing up. And on the inside, have they put any Commodore 64 screenshots in there? Those are the fantastic screenshots. Not all that great, but you weren't expecting Arcade Perfect, were you? And you could have got a Thunderblade t-shirt for $6.95. Again, I played Thunderblade on the Amiga. It wasn't all that good anyway, so I don't think it was a particularly outstanding arcade machine. Impressive because it was a big sort of helicopter machine to sit down in. But there we go. Slain from a 2000 AD. I think it's based on the comic book character. Electronic Arts game, that one. But I'm afraid I know nothing about it, so I can't fill you in. Solomon's Key, which was a bit like Gauntlet. Not a bad game in its own right. Now you'll notice the name Tecmo on there. They were a popular arcade game maker. Hunchback, another early Ocean game. This is the text adventure version. There's two versions. There's text adventure version. I've got no idea. Chicago 30s. It's sort of like the Untouchables, but it came out before then, I think. It came out after the Untouchables. So it's a variant on the Untouchables. You can see how much this one cost, $9.95. W.H. Smith label on the front of it. Octopolis. An English software, I've never heard of that one. Scary Monsters. I'm going to call the game something. Don't call it Scary Monsters. A Gothic Mystery. Starring in order of predictability, Jason Crypt, Naomi, Norma Syams, P. Bonham Elliott, and Loris Toombs. Wow. Got no idea what that is. Am I intrigued? Slightly. It's a puzzle game, rock and roll, from Rainbow Arts. Maze game. I remember seeing it advertised at the time. Pac-Land, which got cracking reviews on the Commodore 64, but again this was sort of about 4 or 5 years after the game was originally in the arcade. It was an 84 arcade game, and it came out much later. It's not bad though, not bad. But I played it on the Amiga, it wasn't quite as good, much better on that one. Bombusel, which was a bomb defusing game, big graphics. Zap Gold Medal Award, one of the cutest and most playable games on the Commodore 64, 97%, which makes you wonder what the 3% it didn't get 100 for. Now there's a classic for you, Operation Wolf. Just take a look at that in the bottom corner of the cover there. That's the arcade machine. You probably can't see because the camera's crap, but the arcade machine came with a mounted gun, Uzi gun, and it's like it was brilliant. If you're a 12-year-old walking into a service station or an arcade on the seaside and you're seeing that, thinking, yes, it's not that bad actually on a 64. It's a pretty good game. We played. We had it, my friend had it, a demo of the first level, and we were desperately trying to beat it. And of course, we actually realised you couldn't beat it because it just was set up for a certain time period, and you couldn't do it no matter what you did differently. It's not a bad conversion on the Commodore 64, I have to say. It's got a Zap Sizzler on it, which means it's not quite good as didn't get into the 90s, but got a good score. Not a bad game on the 64, but I loved it. Fantastic game. Emlyn Hughes' International Soccer, starring the late former Liverpool Bulls and England footballer Emlyn Hughes, one of the great sports personalities of the 1980s. Question of sport, things like that. One of the best football games ever, I have to say. Even now, I played this a few months ago. It's brilliant. It's not as sophisticated as games now, but back then there wasn't anything to touch it. You could have played Match Day, but Match Day was so slow compared to that. And that really was it, probably until Kick-Off came along and sort of revolutionised how football games were. APB, which was a fairly well-known arcade game, but I don't think anybody expected anything of the home conversion, but they got very good reviews, and Domart didn't do a bad job on that one. Again, play the 16-bit version. I can't say I've played all the 8-bit ones. Oink, which says 3 action-packed games on it. I sort of got this confused with Psycho Pigs UXB, which I think is a much better game. I don't remember that one at all. Another early Ocean game. This is Double Take. See, somebody's trying to get rid of it for $1.99. Some screenshots on the back there. This is Jet Boys, which I'm afraid, again, I can't tell you anything about, but it sort of looks like it's you're flying around with a jetpack on your back. The Bard's Tale Classic Text Adventure. There were about 3 or 4 versions of this game, sort of sequels: Bard's Tale 2, Bard's Tale 3, and then maybe beyond that as well. But Dungeons and Dragons RPG text game from Electronic Arts, EA, before they became all singing, all dancing, all dominating. 5-star Volume 3. Not so much 5 stars, you get 2 free. Your 7 games are Iridium Plus, The Way of the Exploding Fist, Trapdoor, Tau Ceti, Aliens, Firelord, and Strike Force Harrier. That's not a bad compilation, actually. Iridium Plus, we've talked about before, was good. Way of the Exploding Fist was a sort of karate game where you're walking across landscapes after different fights. Trapdoor, we spoke about in the previous video. Tau Ceti, I can't really tell you anything about, so I don't know much about that one. Aliens, which is the based on the film version. That's the Electronic Dreams, which I think was the US version, which we spoke about again previously, and that's a good one. And Firelord and Strike Force Harrier are both classic Houston games, so that's not a bad compilation. Have good games in there. Speaking of, that's good compilation. Bad compilations is one here. 4 great games for less than £1 each. Now you know we like a bargain, don't we? We all like a bargain. European games. Ian Botham's Test Match. Bombo, which again we spoke about in the previous video as being a rip-off of Bomb Jack, and World Cup 2. And they're all dreadfully awful. Ian Botham's Test Match, I'm not sure whether it's this version or whether it's just Ian Botham's Test Match in general, got a bug in it. Doesn't work properly. But it came out of Timesoft. I remember reading an article on Retro Gamer about Timesoft. It's quite interesting, and yeah, but that's yeah, you wouldn't be very happy with that. Oh, another compilation. 10 Computer Hits Volume 4. No value, you get about 10 games. Bride of Frankenstein, Alley Cat, Classic Snooker, Starquake, Uchimata, Sacred Armour of Antiriad, Deactivators, Spin Dizzy, Skate Rock, Iridis Alpha, not the actor, Iridis Alpha, Magic Madness, and Dandy. So not only do you get 10 great computer hits, but you actually get 2 extra thrown in free. A couple of those I recognise. Not many I'd recommend, I've got to be honest with you. Oh, another compilation. Computer Classics. And again we have Synapse, Into the Eagle's Nest, Dynamite Dan, Aliens, and Cauldron 2. Now again, I've mentioned Aliens with that compilation 2 cassettes ago. Synapse, we've heard the very first one part. Isn't an Aliens again? Goodness me. Licensing must have been a real sort of pain. It must have been easy to get around. Just kept releasing the same games and the same compilations. Future Night. Again, great sort of cover. I can't get to the graphics because the box is about to fall apart. Oh, there aren't many graphics on the back of it. Are there any graphics on the back of it? There are. I can't get to them. Oh, there we go. The box is falling apart. There we go. No, I can't get to them, I'm afraid. Oh dear me. Right, quickly. There's a bit of sponsorship for you. The Pepsi Challenge. Which is a puzzle game. Seemed to be. It's called. I think it's called the Mad Mix game. Yeah, it got quite good reviews at the time. We saw Jack the Nipper a few videos ago. This is the sequel, Jack the Nipper 2 and Coconut Capers, where you control again the baby going round and causing havoc in a platform adventure. Rygar, Let's Fight. All I can tell about Rygar, again, it's one of these loincloth and sword type games. There was there's a version of the Wii, which I keep seeing, but it's not cheap enough for me to pick up yet at the moment. Star Ray, which I think is a shoot 'em up. Mini Golf from Magic Bytes is what it says in the box. Doc the Destroyer from Melbourne House, which I told us to avoid, and I believe that looks like it's a really naff text adventure type game. ISS, Incredible Shrinking Sphere, which got a lot of good reviews at the time. It's a puzzle maze game. Probably a futuristic version of Marble Madness, I'm guessing, from the look at the back of it. And you could win a Tomy robot. Remember them Tomy robots there? See it? Sort of like the NES Rob the Robot, but not quite. This is Gothic, which came out of Woolworths. Remember Woolworths? $1.99 this was, and it looks like it's a dungeon game. Flying Shark, which was an arcade conversion, sort of in the vein of 1942, 1943. If you played those games up the screen, biplane. Not bad. Not easier to play than 1942, 1943, but not great. Ugh, Days of Thunder. We talked about vector graphics working on Commodore 64. They don't. And this was... Oh yeah, this was a terrible game. I remember playing this on the Amiga, which is the screenshot you can see on the back, because they wouldn't even dare put the Commodore ones on this. Dreadful game. Dreadful game, whatever system you played it on. Dreadful film as well. I can't believe how many Amigas they sold off the back of that game, that film. Loads, because it was part of one of the packs. I got the Batman pack the year after it was the Days of Thunder pack. Days of Thunder. A couple others as well. And I definitely got the better deal out of that one. Terry's Big Adventure, which was platform game. You're a small guy with a yo-yo. Quite good fun actually, that one. Good on the Amiga, good on the 64. Howard the Duck. It's one of the all-time great film flops. George Lucas was involved in this one. I don't know much about the game, I've got to be honest with you. Couldn't have been that bad, because all the people who created the game put their names on the back of it. Created by Troy Linden, Scott Orr, Harold Seeley, Doug Barnett and John Cutter. So it can't be that bad if you actually put your name on the back of it, unless they've made them all up. It's sort of spoofed detective game called Killed Until Dead. I love the sound of this game. I absolutely love it. 5 of the world's best-selling murder mystery writers, known as the Murder Club, have once again convened for their annual convention at the Gargoyle Hotel. They will try to bump off the others and lay claim to the crown of world's greatest murderer. How can you not love that? Only you stand in the way as Hercule Holmes, the famous detective. Oh wow, super! I actually remember reading. I've read about that. It is meant to be good. Quake Minus One, not Plus One. That's a sequel. Quake Minus One, a fast-moving, giant real-time action game, joystick control only. It's a relief. Football Manager 2, which is the follow-up to the greatest selling football management game of all time at the time, by Kevin Toms down here. I to be honest with you, I just didn't get it. Just didn't feel right to me. You know, you play something for the first time, I think, yeah, finally someone's got it. Championship Manager. I keep banging on about it. Championship Manager. Got to pick that up and go, yeah, they understand this. They understand how it works. They understand you need to great in-depth statistics. Not that. Sorry, Kevin, but yeah, it just wasn't for me. Thing Bounces Back, which I think was the sequel to Thing on a Spring. Again, platform game. Enigma Force. Don't know that one. Oh, it was the all-action sequel to Shadowfire, which I don't know either. Brilliant soundtrack, and then in brackets, On Spectrum 2. Can't you see that? Can't see, it's too yellow. Yeah. It actually goes to the point of insulting Spectrum owners by saying, yeah, there's actually some good music on the Spectrum for a change. 10 Computer Hits 2, which contains such all-time classics as Super Pipeline 2, Mutant Monty, Henry's House, Gribbly's Day Out, which to be fair is a game which people know more history on. Gribbly's Day Out. So again, some people like it, some people don't. Snooker, Mama Llama, which is a Jeff Minter game from Llamasoft. Rascal, Aqua Racer, Frenzy and Circus. Yeah, you'd be taking that one back to the shop slightly disappointed, I think. Death Wish 3, You Are Bronson, ironically. This has got a banging soundtrack. I absolutely love the soundtrack, but I have not got a clue what the game was doing. It really was bizarre. But I enjoyed playing it for a bit, but I just haven't got a clue. The music was brilliant. Hats off to the people who did the music on that one. Super stuff. This is Street Sports Basketball, which is a basketball game set on the streets. Oh, nearly there. Right. We say Star Paws earlier. This is Cat Trap, Planet of the Catmen. No graphics on the back. 2 pictures of the people who produced the game, and also the fact someone paid $2.99 for it, possibly. I have no idea. Trantor, the Last Stormtrooper. from Go. Remember a previous video I was sort of slagging off Go a bit, some rubbish games they produced. I think that was one of them. Now Pac-Mania. Pac-Land earlier. We spoke about Pac-Mania before. This was the update of the original Pac-Man to take it into a 3D world, and actually not bad at all. Maybe not quite as quick as the original game, but much bigger, and it was right up there where it should be. Now one of my all-time favourite games, New Zealand Story. I love this game. Had it on the Amiga as part of the Batman pack. Loved it. This version is pretty good as well, and in fact other versions I've played are not bad at all. But yeah, you got a Kiwi who all your best friends have been taken by a giant whale, and you have to go through a number of levels. Yes, it's really good fun. Massive fan of that game. Computer Hits 3. I like these compilations, featuring such classics as Jeff Cape's Strongman, Elidon, Blagger Goes to Hollywood, Cauldron, 3D Lunar Attack, Crazy Comets, Dynamite Dan, Herbert's Dummy Run, Attack of the Mutant Camels, and Basildon Bond, which I think was Russ Abbott tie-in, possibly. And you could also even buy a t-shirt and sweatshirt with the Great Games logo on it. Wow. Yeah, I don't think that was a bad compilation. Something Jeff Cape's game, Cauldron, Crazy Comets, Attack of the Mutant Camels. Yeah, 4 or 5 good games in that one. Not so bad. One of the better ones. We spoke about Monty Mole earlier, and this is Auf Wiedersehen Monty, which I think was the 3rd game in the series, and you could also send off for a map on that one. Platform game, infuriatingly difficult and tricky, as they all were. Masked Crusaders, that was based on Mask start the song. It was based on a TV cartoon series which I remember watching quite a lot. Yeah, it was an interesting concept. They all wore these sort of masks and had these vehicles which sort of changed into fighter things. The game wasn't too bad. I think I preferred the cartoon than that. Getting to the very bottom of this is Heartland. I couldn't tell you anything else about that because there's nothing on the back of the box apart from where they made it. This is Desolator, another US Gold game. Maze Mania. Again, I know nothing about that other than this is a game about mazes. And the last one is Shackled. A lot of US Gold games here, which looks like it's an Alien Syndrome type view on that one. Unchain Your Imagination. It's a good. I like that design. It's good design, isn't it? So those are all those. Well, I mean, you know, I know they don't class as dual games, but they are sort of those games there. And apart from big cardboard boxes, those are the main ones you sort of pick up. Hope you've enjoyed those anyway. One final video to come, which will be all the cardboard boxes, the giant, well designed, beautifully artworked and in good knit cardboard, and also some of the old clamshell style boxes as well. For those of you who won't know what I'm talking about, there's an incentive to watch the next video. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.